All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Pursuit to the Plate, brought to you by Vortex Optics and Remington Arms. Today in the Remington Arms studio, we're going to be joined by guest Ricky Hart. He's with Lucky Duck Decoys. Just like anybody else that we have on, you know, we try to keep people that we ask to come on our show that we feel are every bit as passionate about hunting as we are, so in the outdoors. But yeah, he's... You know, like I said, I've been friends with him on Facebook for quite some time, and, you know, he's a really good guy, and he knows his stuff, and he likes to get out there and get on with the ducks and the geese every bit as much as you or me. So we're excited to talk to him. We're going to be talking about a lot of waterfowling, and I kind of want to pick his brain on that new Lucky Duck spinner they came out with, the EVA plastic. They kind of completely changed the game with the spinner type decoys, but that we'll get in all that stuff later. First and foremost, check out our photo of the month contest on Facebook. It is South Pond Waterfowls, The Pursuit to the Plate. Basically, what we're doing is kind of like I said in the last episode: is you send us a picture of you in the outdoors. You know, if we feel that it's appropriate, we will post it to a photo album at the end of every month or at the beginning of the new month, and we'll let people vote, and whoever wins, basically with the most likes, gets the most votes, and they get whatever prize that month was hosting. So,
had some cool pictures coming in already.
Yeah, there's been quite a few. I think we've got a little over, maybe around 25 in a week, so that's not too bad. I think last time we had about 80-some picks, and that was a bit much. But I think we're right at around 25 right now. We, you know, keep getting them in every day. But so yeah, that's something, you know, like the contest they're going for right now. They're going to win a pair of Vortex Optics 8x10 newly redesigned crossfire binoculars. They're, I think, $250 or something like that. It's around about what they cost new if you had to buy them. And then a whole bunch of lethal scent control stuff. Pretty much anything and everything that a person would need. You know, for bow hunting or predator hunting or deer hunting, whatever, as far as scent control goes. So, you know, there's a pretty good value to it, and we're going to try to keep all the contests in that route. I think the next show we record with Doug, we'll kind of talk about a little bit more what the next month one is. But we got that. Email Brian that's BRIAN, and then at southpondwaterfowl.com. That's one way to enter. You can enter on Twitter if you want to direct message us a picture. If we don't follow you, just tag us on Twitter and say, hey, follow us. We're trying to enter a picture, and we'll follow you back. It's gotten so out of control with how many followers we have, it's hard to keep up. So if we're not following you, just say something. We'd be more than happy to follow you.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's at S_P_waterfowl on Twitter. Instagram, the same thing. We've had, I think, 2 or 3 entries on Instagram via direct message. Our Instagram is SPWF_The Pursuit to the Plate. Just search us. Hit us up. Same thing on there. Mention. Usually if we see that somebody follows us, we try to follow back. But, you know, we're all busy, and sometimes we can miss people and stuff like that. So if you're trying to send us a picture and it's not going through, just tag us in something or comment on one of our photos, and we'll be more than happy to add you. But you can direct message us on there, or just post to our Facebook timeline. So, you know, those are all easy enough ways to do it. And then, how's fishing for you been, Joe? You're pretty much kind of should be getting into the bass fishing tournament season now.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I've had a few tournaments, done all right now. I've been on the water 3-4 days a week right now.
Did you get rained out on one?
Yeah, I've been rained out twice.
God, I'm the weather, man. What the hell?
Yeah, we had a big storm roll through. 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to be out on one. Had a big storm roll through that basically killed the entire weekend. Rained, thunder, lightning 2 straight days, and I don't mess with lightning.
No, not on the water. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but it's not.
And they canceled the tournament, so that one's going to be made up here in a couple weeks. So I have a little bit of a lull.
Do they all get made up if one gets canceled? Or, I mean, how does that work? It just kind of depends on what the value is, or, I mean...
Yeah, both of the ones that got rained out were, I'm only going to make up one of them because one of them's a series I fish in, and the other one was just an outside event I was going to do. Okay. So I'm just going to stick to the one that's in my series, and the other one falls on a weekend. They're making it up the weekend of my daughter's birthday, so I'm not missing my daughter's birthday.
Nah, you don't want to do that. They'll remember that stuff. You don't want to make them grow up hating the outdoors.
Fishing's been hot, though. I've been on fish really consistently here. Fishing a lot of fish. If you can check me out on Facebook, Joe Swatolski Outdoors, or Instagram and Twitter, which is both at Joe_SWIT. Been hammering fish. Top water and plastics have been really hot for me right now.
Yeah. What times of days are you noticing the bite to be a little bit better? Typical early morning?
All day long.
All day long, huh?
Yeah, it's bass fishing. You can always find bass, but all day long. I've started early in the mornings working docks and shallow, and then as the sun gets up, I'll start to hit the lily pads and
which are starting to get out there pretty big.
Oh yeah, and I've just even started working some drop-offs. I'm starting to see a few bass hanging out on ledges. So crankbaits and swim baits are catching fish as well.
Right on. Yeah, I got out. I've actually been sick quite a bit. Strep throat, and I did a little damage after kind of kicking the strep throat last week, and I pretty much breathed in some Camp Dog Cajun seasoning, trying to sprinkle some on the grill in a hurry, in between rain. Let's just say that wasn't fun. So, right after I get done with strep, my freaking, all that stuff back there is still all irritated, and then, yeah, go huffing in that junk. But I've been out, We went out and kind of trolled around a little bit to test out that Garmin. I bought that Garmin 73SV fish finder, which is freaking awesome. I'm learning how to read the side view and down view, which is a completely different technology than I'm used to, which is like the black and white screen with the fish that pop up. Oh my God, I love it. But I've only been out twice with it, and both times it was kind of at night, and I need to get some lights on my boat for one, which would help. Time's kind of been limited. One time we were dodging a thunderstorm, and we literally only had an hour. So a lot of it was just trolling down, trolling back, and trying to figure the unit out. And then the next go around, we fished for 3 or 4 hours, caught a couple crappie, and had a couple fish that we lost. But it was a pretty rough lake, high in traffic, a lot of boats out there, and not really one that I look forward to going and fishing. But it was 15 minutes away from my house, so whatever. But
been a lot of dodging of thunderstorms this year.
Yeah, and it makes it tough. All this pop-up crap we're having too. I mean, that's spring. You're gonna have that, but this year's it's been wet, and people down south, Texas, Oklahoma, man, I feel bad. I mean, they got horrible. It's just horrible. The south is just flooded big time.
Cable's getting pounded down there.
I know one of our lakes that we fish on, Truman, I think it's 10 or 14 feet high. And a lot of that is because Truman Lake Reservoir was pretty much structured to keep the Lake of the Ozarks at bay. If water goes over the seawall at the Ozarks, there's $1 million homes. That's that Lake of the Ozarks is a great lake to fish. But there are so many huge, massive, big cigarette boats and power boats and stuff like that. I mean, it's just that it's a huge recreational lake, and it's sad to see because the fishing's great and it just makes it tough. But you got to pick your battles. But yeah, because of that, they got to keep that lake regulated. So Truman's way high. I mean, it's to the point to where you can't even find your landmarks. Like before, I didn't have GPS. So I'm basically having to go through now and relearn where all my spots were. You can't see them. They're not there. It's mind blowing that how much water we've gotten just this spring, and how dry the winter was. I mean, there was hardly any rain or snow. So, when it rains, it pours. There's a reason they say that, but
even I know Scott up on the Mississippi with South Pond is having trouble getting out. The Mississippi's up about 6 feet right now, which the fish are moving into different areas that they're not usually in.
Mm-hmm.
It's creating all kinds of new habitat along the rivers for them, and they hang out there until the water goes down.
Yeah. And what do you do? It's you got to keep on your toes. It's just like anything else, got to stay adaptive, and you yourself as a hunter or angler have to adapt with Mother Nature, and that's part of the, you can't just adapt to the animal. You got to be able to adapt to the climate that's going around too, because the animals are going to be doing the same thing. So completely different patterning, but we'll take it. It's better than nothing. I'll be fishing a tournament come the 19th of July, I think. So if it doesn't rain, I'm kind of excited for that. It's my first fishing tournament ever. So.
Best rush you're going to have is takeoff, man. Right away in the morning.
Really?
One of the best adrenaline rushes you can have.
Huh. I don't know. I like duck hunting pretty much, hearing the whistle of those wings go over your head. Oh, they're coming. But speaking of duck hunting, let's try to get. We got Ricky Hart coming up here, and we'll do some chatting with him. Let's see if we can get him on the lines. With this segment being brought to you by Banded, simply the best hunting gear on the market.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Ricky, how's it going?
Oh, I'm well, thank you.
All right, that's good. You are basically live as of right now with myself and Joe Swatowski.
How you doing, sir?
I'm well, Joe, and yourself?
I'm doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've just been going over some stuff that we've had going on, but what's been going on with you, man? Been busy?
We're really, really busy right now. We're actually getting some containers in. We're starting to ship some of our waterfowl stuff. The new Lucky HD just showed up to the warehouse and last week, and then we got another container this week. So we're shipping that stuff off, and we should be getting steady containers now through about the end of August or so, and then we'll order more as needed.
I have a feeling, and what we'll get to a little bit later is that new Lucky HD is probably going to be a pretty hot seller. You guys that's what I was telling Joe earlier. You kind of took the spinner decoy and just completely ran away with it. I don't want to get too much into it now. What I would like to do is kind of do a basic introduction for folks about yourself. Like I was telling Joe and the listeners, we try to interview people that we feel share our passions,
right?
The same way we do in the outdoors. And I don't know how long we've been Facebook friends or whatever. And I think I've met you at Rogers Waterfowl days a couple times, but
And you're from Wisconsin too, right?
Actually, no. I'm originally from Michigan, and I now reside in Illinois. So I actually work remotely. So I'm fortunate enough that when I took the position with Lucky Duck, that they allowed me to still work remotely. As my wife, we're currently expecting our first child here in August, and then obviously she'll be a working mom. So it's it would have been hard. It would have been a tough move up there for us, and I got family back in Michigan and friends and stuff. So I still like to try to get back there and hunt. And that would have put me probably about 10 or so hours out away from them. So it's a good area, close to an airport as I travel a lot, so I can, and Bass Pro's down in like Springfield, and there's Shields that are close by, and Presley's down and around Peoria. So I get around a little bit, so it's kind of a good actual central location, although a very much liberal state.
Hey, you're in Peoria?
No, I'm actually in Kendall County area. I reside in Yorkville, Illinois. So some good hunting area to be had.
Definitely.
North of I-80, and there's a bunch of resident geese, and the population seems to grow. Definitely could be managed a little bit better. Hoping that here in the next couple of years they increase the bag limits. We're going to find ourselves like New York, where they're eradicating geese. So
I know.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
We've got invited up by our good friend at Puddle Set to come up there and take part in their early Canada Goose season.
Where's that at?
It's in New York.
Okay.
He's kind of near
Northwestern.
near Buffalo, I think.
Okay, so is he over by the Finger Lakes region?
Yes.
Yes. I
Okay,
think so.
if you guys can get over there, get over there. That is New York is a hidden gem. I used to go there all the time with my good friend Tim Furness.
Mm-hmm.
My dad and I would go out there, and we would go out there for their split.
Mm-hmm.
It was just right around New Year's.
Yeah.
And I mean, the black ducks are amazing, and then if you can get on some of the Finger Lakes, we really got into the redheads and that kind of stuff, and some golden eyes. So it's they got a variety over there. It's like I said, it's a hidden gem, and I enjoyed it. And I hunted out there with, I believe it's Frontenac waterfowlers, and Jason Barnes and all them. I hunted with them years ago, and did some Canada goose hunting out by I think it was either Cayuga or Canisius, I can't remember, and we got into them pretty good.
It looks from some of the shows I've seen where folks go up there, Heartland, they're from here pretty much, and they did a show up there, and I think it was the early season Canada. Of course, it's just like anything else, you're still going to have the battles and bad days and good days, but talking with Bob, man, it's unreal. I mean, e-callers, and I think it's like 15 geese a day, and holy
I don't know if that are they doing an early season like that, or is that in that? I know their late seasons that way, but it's it's crazy, and I know that I don't know what it's like. I know they eradicated a bunch, and geez, it's quite crazy over there. I can tell you that there's a lot of birds over in that area.
Yeah, and I was happy when our limit went from 2 to 3.
Yeah, no doubt, right? So being in the Mississippi Flyway, we don't have the nice liberal limits like everybody else. We still remain on the conservative side, and everybody's picking ducks all the way up from northern Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota all the way down through Arkansas. So it's a large flyway with a lot of hunters.
It's very heavily pressured, and I think a lot of folks travel to hunt here, and which is, it's new scenery, but it's all the people that hunt here want to travel somewhere else to hunt. I mean, Stuttgart, there's Arkansas and all that stuff.
The Mississippi River is great for hunting for ducks, though. If you can get out on the Mississippi River, it's an absolute blast hunting the backwater bays for puddlers and Main Lake for divers. I love doing that every year.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, we go in sometimes on the Iowa side and get over, and I've had some good hunts with some friends here in Illinois. And you're right, there's different pools. You can have canvasbacks and divers, or you can find those backwater spots, and you can be into mallards and wood ducks and that kind of stuff. So there's definitely rich traditions that go along with the Mississippi River. But again, there are a lot of people from the Mississippi Flyway that are heading more farther west, and they're getting into the Central Plains region and up into Canada and that stuff because they want to shoot more birds and do a variety of different things and see different things. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the traveling hunter is a waterfowl hunter.
Yeah, no, it's I think just trying to hunt somewhere new, even if it's the same species, hunting a new place, there's just something about it, like a completely different scenery. We've been invited to go out to California with Hank Shaw, and that would be that right there. If I had to take one waterfowl trip, I know a lot of people want to go to Arkansas and hunt the timber, and but if you can get to a place that the hunting is beyond solid, that is a wintering ground for a duck, oh man, you're shooting fully plumed pintails, spoonies, cinnamon teal, specks. I mean, it's just I'd go to if I had to pick right now one spot for this year, it'd be out California to hunt waterfowl.
That's good.
But that's kind of, I think at that point in time you're mainly just chasing fully plumed ducks, and I don't really get that too much in Missouri. This year is kind of a freak show because we had some ducks come back up from the south because of the bad weather they were having down there. But I mean, we get a lot of young birds and birds that are, like pintail-wise. You still get them, but they're not what they are when they're down in Texas in January by any means.
No, I mean, the later the year gets, it seems like the better, obviously, the color of the birds get, and they start to concentrate more because things freeze up. And trust me, from hunting in Michigan my whole life, and now in Illinois, we know what it's like when there's a push, and for us, it's anywhere from 3 days to, it can be upwards to a week, and this year was a crazy year. It got really cold in November in Arkansas. I mean, they picked up 500,000 ducks, and then everything just turned completely stale. Nothing moved. Everything stayed. It got warm. The warming trend. It got cold in the south, and like you guys, I think Kansas was a good state this year because they were kind of getting the fight of the ducks. Do I go south? And then they cut back a little bit more north because it got colder in the south, and so Kansas was a good state this year, and I know the guys with the grind, they did good when they went and hunted in Kansas in January and some other months as well. So it's it's just one of those things that within 24 to 48 hours you can have a mob of ducks on you.
And then within the same amount of time they're gone.
Exactly.
Yep. Been there, done that.
Michigan, one good freeze out can have that migration through in a day.
Oh, that's anywhere, man.
And if you put the work in, I mean, there's still birds to be found, in irrigation ditches and anywhere where there's, puddles of water and rivers that stay open. I mean, the birds concentrate, so it can really allow for some good shooting, but it's a lot more work to do it. Sometimes gets a little dangerous when you start playing with the ice and that stuff, but if you're a waterfowler, you can't be afraid of that kind of stuff.
Correct.
It's very rewarding. We hunted the Grand River a few times, and we literally had that. We found probably 200 to 300 mallards that were in a little bitty chunk of water that was keeping open from the river, and we scouted them. And we opted out of doing the afternoon hunt that day, and we're going to come and set up in the morning. And when we got there, they were gone. So we don't know. I didn't want to bust them off the roost for that reason. But we wanted to. We tried what we felt was the right thing, and not hunting the roost. And that way, the birds stuck around. You can get more than one hunt in that way. And it just didn't pan out. We don't know if somebody went and busted the roost, or there was about 6 eagles, bald, golden, and duck feathers everywhere. So we don't know if eagles ran the ducks off or what. But it literally a day late and $1 short, and they were just gone. And there was probably 40 or 50 geese that didn't want nothing to do with this. They stayed. They never even got up. 2 or 3 at a time would get up and fly the opposite direction, and then they come back, and then a couple more would get up, and it's like, damn, it was cold.
Well, it's funny because we were out during the Eastern Waterfowl Festival. We went hunting with Pit Boss for the grind, and it was myself and Bill, and then Zach from Wild Ear, and our producer Mike, and we were out there filming, and then that's when that cold snap hit, and Bill's getting calls, and he's up in arms. He's wanting to finish the hunt out in Maryland, and I mean, he literally drove from Maryland to South Dakota and only stopped for gas. I mean, he was anxious to get back, and he burned them for 2 or 3 days, and then I showed up, and we hunted with Paul Waite from Delta Waterfowl, and we had some good shoots. The wind was strong, it was howling, but then again, it goes back to what you guys say. In the matter of days, they can stale up pretty quick. And they were pushing from different parts of the river, and they were starting to separate and spread out again. So, for 10 days, we hunted hard, and probably out of those 10 days, we probably had realistically about 3 or 4 solid days. So, it can be a struggle.
Oh yeah.
How did you enjoy hunting with Pit Boss out there?
I would say that if anybody was to go sea duck hunting, that was my second time hunting with him. He's first class all the way. I mean, he knows the area. When it comes to hospitality, he enjoys going out and eating with his clients. He's a very hands-on guide. He talks, you're hunting over his hand-carved decoys, hunting out of his, I think it's a 25-foot Banks Titan. I mean, it's a massive boat. He's got all the amenities that you need in there. It's, I would say that every person should go experience that at least one time in their life. It's a destination hunt. great area to stay in, plenty of stuff to do when you're not hunting, and he's good company. I mean, he keeps the entertainment alive. As if anybody follows him on social media, he can.
Oh yeah,
see he's very involved.
He's awesome to follow, especially on Instagram.
It looks like he just started up fishing, like a charter or something.
Yeah, he actually did. He did just start a fishing charter, Pit Boss Fishing. I don't know what the stripers or something down there. I'm not much of a fish head. Trust me, I just can fish, but very involved with that. You know, he's done such a great job at marketing and promoting his businesses and that kind of stuff that it's actually, I don't know if it's actually hindered some things as far as them cutting back on the number of days that you can actually sea duck hunt, because I think he was getting like 100 or plus days out there where you can sea duck hunt. Well, they were actually talking about looping in all the sea duck hunting in lines with somewhat the federal regulations are and that kind of stuff, and the days that they hunt out there. So it could have cut him back some days, and so, you know, he needs that's how he makes a living. You know, he makes a living off of his businesses and that kind of stuff. So hopefully he's successful at this fishing thing, because he's a world-class guy. There's no doubt about it.
It looks like he knows his stuff for sure. I followed that guy on Twitter since, holy smokes!
Yep.
Since I've been on Twitter,
since I've had Twitter, and I mean it's cool to see this stuff he does, because I mean he's out there all the time. And at first I didn't know he was a guide service or anything. I'm like, man, this guy's insane. And then everything, you know, he kind of got it all together on. It's like, all right, man, holy smokes, it is. He's a very worthwhile follow on any of the social media from what I've seen, like you were saying, for sure.
Yeah, he promotes business. He talks with people. He interacts, and he's definitely a role model for a lot of folks. And you know, you never really see him do wrong or getting any squibbles or anything like that. So he's, you know, we have him doing some voiceover stuff for us with the grind, and he'll appear on there as well as far as some of his hunt mainly. But you know, he's been around. I mean, he was part of the Ducks, Dogs, and Decoys TV, you know, D3 TV. He was the host of that. He did a lot of stuff with Avery back in the day. His photography is, I would say, in the top 5 of waterfowl photography. And he's just a good all-around guy that knows a lot of history on that East Coast waterfowling.
I can't say that there'd be anything negative that I've ever seen from the guy. So
I was going to say, if you guys ever want to talk to somebody or have somebody, you know, on your podcast and that kind of stuff, he's a good guy. He would love to work with you guys. I think he actually does one too. So,
I'll be damned. Well, I got a question for you. We were talking about the next, and I think it's either not the next one, but the one following. You guys said that you would help sponsor one of the Photo of the Month contests, and in that, I don't want to give it away quite yet what it is because we haven't released it. But I was going to see, and this would just be straight up on myself, we're going to start doing contests on the actual podcast, kind of a trivia type deal. It may be just once a month. I don't know if it'll be every episode quite yet. And if we do more than once a month, we may just do small stuff here and there too in between. But I was going to give away a Lucky Junior endorsed by Duck Commander spinner from you guys.
Yeah, it's funny. There's some things that we need to change on our website, believe it or not, and that's kind of one of the things. That endorsement for us has actually kind of come to a halt. You know, we love those guys. They very much involved since Lucky Duck actually began, and we did a lot of stuff with them with the hunting show. Unfortunately, we just this year we actually don't have the licensure with them again. But again, we would love to work with you guys on any type of giveaways and that kind of stuff, whether it might be a little apparel or something like that. We can definitely try to help you guys out and come to an agreement on that kind of stuff. But the Lucky Junior is a great introductory spinner. It runs off of 4 AA's, it's actually a 6-volt system, but having the 4 AA's, you know, guys down south that are in the trees, they kind of like them a little bit. It's got the cupped wings so that for some reason, if you didn't pack some extra batteries with you that day, because it will run about anywhere from 14 to 18 hours on that one charge. Again, they are batteries, so it depends on the temperature outside. So if it's really cold, it won't last the whole 18 hours. But you get 2 or 3 hunts out of it, and if a guy forgets his pack of batteries and the wind's spinning pretty good, well, it has the curved injection molded plastic wings, so they'll still turn in the wind a little bit too. So it works out pretty well. It's definitely a good decoy at that $60 retail point.
Well, I know the ones I run right now are pretty much the hot shots, and they've held up all right. And I'm hard on stuff.
I love my hot shots.
And I've been running these for 3 years. We used to run some mojos of one of our other guys, Aaron, and he had, I think, 3 or 4 of them. And it's kind of hit and miss. I mean, it's just like anything else. You need to know when to utilize a tool like that and when to not utilize a tool like that. And, they're not all just going to come into them flapping wings all the time. But, we kind of slowly transitioned away from the mojos because they kind of just went to crap on us from either being dunked in the water, which they're not waterproof, and this, that, and the other. Main reason that I even went to them was I'm fortunate enough to live by Rogers Sporting Goods. And I don't know if it's fortunate enough, or it can be just as much of a hindrance as it can be a help. But man, waterfowl days, I think I got 2 of those things for they were like $39 a piece. I mean, it was.
Are you talking about on the Scouts? Are they the fully flocked ones, or
no?
Are you talking about
just the hot shot, like plain?
Oh, the hot shots.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a funny thing, because when you bought those, we've been actually had an exclusive with Rogers now this will be going on our 2nd year for the Scouts last year, which the Scout is basically a hot shot, but it's a flocked body. The year previously to that, yes, they did the hot shot as far as the 2-pack exclusive, and you're right, you probably got a really good price on them.
Very.
I think this past year he was at Rogers. They were doing the backpack that would hold the 2 Lucky Ducks, and so you would get 2 Lucky Duck Scouts, 2 remotes, and the backpack. I think he was running for I don't know if it was $170 or $180. I mean, it was $320 worth of stuff retail wise, and so I know when we were there for the waterfowl show, we went through, my goodness, I don't know, 2-3 skids of them, and then he ended up selling out of the backpacks, and around November. So it's something that went off well. I think that you guys can expect some more deals from Rogers again this year, as we have done another exclusive with them on the Scout. So it did sell so well that they decided that's something that they wanted to kind of get around to at, and it's a good decoy. Especially with the flocking, it makes it stand out a little bit more, and overall good decoy.
They seem to be great decoys. I've shot a lot of ducks over Lucky Ducks, so they work well.
Well, real quick, what I'd like to do is we're going to do kind of a text type thing, and what I'm going to do, Hank Shaw, and what was it, episode 14, Joe? I think. Let me look here real quick. I'll pull it up.
Pull it up real quick.
Yes, episode 14. Think outside the duck popper box. We did duck popper box. We did with Hank Shaw. Hank in that episode had compared sausage making to something, and what I want you guys to do is text me at 816-935-0653. What you think or what you know the answer is, and we will pick, if there's multiple, put the numbers in a hat, and we will pick a number. To help make it easier for us to track, we want you to get on the episode on Podbean, which is southpondwaterfowl.podbean.com, and comment done. And what we will do is we will pick a number out of a hat if there's multiple right answers. And whoever that is, we are going to give you a lucky duck, a lucky junior, the one he was describing earlier, not the hot shot, but the junior. So, what's it retail for, like $60? something like
retails
that.
for
So
$60. Yep.
yeah, so that's going to be that one. Text me your answer. What did Hank Shaw compare sausage making to in that episode? And if you're the only one, you get it. if there's multiple, you're going to be random.
What's that number again?
816 935 0653.
There you go.
And but yeah, that's that. So I would like to ask you, just to educate us and myself, when I first started using Lucky Duck products, it's been a ways out, and were you guys a division of Edge Outdoors? Or, I mean, because it kind of seemed like it went from one to the other with the products, maybe? Or if, I'm not sure, kind of.
So Lucky Duck is actually, we're a division of Expedite International, which that is a former Edge operated under that umbrella. So we do business as Lucky Duck.
Okay.
It's a brand. We rebranded here about 2 or 3 years ago. Edge was kind of this box that was, like kind of this brown and cream colored looking box. And what's Edge? Did it really relate to the hunter and that kind of stuff? And it didn't really staple where we wanted to be at it in the industry. We wanted to be recognized by our products and a name that everybody kind of wanted to be like, man, I want to be a part of that, and kind of wanted everybody to, recognize who we were. I mean, in the competitor days, it doesn't hurt to say that your competitor's doing well, and Mojo does a great job. They have a great brand. It's like Kleenex, and so we wanted to do better. We did a lot of things with Lee Jose in our branding scheme and come up with some new logos and kind of a new look. And then new products as well. I mean, those are things that you can expect from Lucky Duck, like with the new Lucky HD, that kind of stuff, especially we do Predator stuff, so we have new Predator stuff out this year. And the Cripple Critter, we'll have turkey items coming out, so it's our goal every year to bring something new to the market that, hopefully is somewhat innovative, but most importantly, something that can be used by all the hunters in what they do and will be effective as well. So we're excited and we strive to push forward, and we're definitely growing at a great pace.
And something I'm kind of excited for that I will probably be checking out myself. Not a lot of folks get into this type of hunting, but I like to crow hunt.
Okay, there you go. I love it too.
It's a freaking blast. Yeah. And I've taken my crow setup right now is we paint dove decoys black. So it's worked, but I've been saying for a long time I need to get some crow decoys because they get people always talk about, and it's all area, but you're not going to shoot at the same crow twice.
No,
they're freaking smart. Like smart.
Yeah, a good e-caller. We on our Predator calls, like our Screaming Joker, we actually have a crow call on there, so you could use a distressed rabbit, or you could just set it in the ground so that it would, there's a decoy there, and it has a crow call on there, and it does work. It is effective. We actually have our calling crow that's a fully flocked crow that comes with like a 12-inch stake you can put in the ground, and it has it kind of goes through its whole crow noises and that kind of stuff. And then we just have our regular flat crows that can go on a stake, and then we also have what is called like a triple play motion crow that it's a hub that goes in the ground, and then it's got 3 arms on it, it rotates, and it looks like all these crows around. And that would be good for something that, if you had the Screaming Joker right near there, it definitely looks like these crows are kind of getting after something that's in distress. And you could also use our Prowler owl, which is also a good owl decoy, as those two definitely don't get along. So, but crow hunting it's fun. People don't realize how well they can actually decoy at times.
Oh, yeah.
But they are a blast to shoot.
A lot of fun. I mean, I think what turns a lot of people off with it is we're seeing a trend in eat what you hunt. And I've known people that eat crow. But,
I've tried it. It's It's okay.
It's edible.
It needs a lot of marinade.
It's edible, But there's a trend, which we kind of touched base in the second to last podcast, and I think people confusing hunting ethics with somewhat of a elitist, or even sometimes not even elitist, but just because it's not the way that you're going to do it doesn't mean it's wrong. So, and there's a reason there's a season, like plain and simple.
Yep.
They're trying to keep the birds regulated because there's not really another predator that is going to be effective enough in keeping the crow population in check. So it's a blast. It's a good way to kill time. We only have so many spots we can coyote hunt. So when we pretty much burn those spots up, we'll post up and we'll shoot crows, and it's a blast. I love it. So
there you go.
That's one thing. If anybody that follows our Instagram accounts knows, we're itching for that. Once duck and goose is over, and even during, we definitely take advantage of that one. But the crows. Now you guys have turkey stuff, which I had no clue. And then
we've actually done turkey stuff since, I don't know, probably about 97, 98.
Mm-hmm.
We dabbled into the turkey market just a little bit. We do some of the kind of the entry level stuff, as
Mm-hmm.
far as collapsible decoys and that. But there's some things that we'll be doing here in the future that I think will shake up the market a little bit, and hopefully draw some attention to the Lucky Duck brand, and be able to people use these devices and when they're out turkey hunting, just to make their turkey hunts hopefully more successful than what they are today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Right now, I pretty much use the Dakotas. They're nice.
Yep, he does a great job with the breeder pack, and they're coming out with the feeding decoy and that kind of stuff. And that's a premium decoy market as far as that EVA plastic. And I don't know if that's anything that we'll ever get into, because we're on the deception side, and we look at motorized and movement and that kind of stuff. So we look how to maybe enhance those types of decoys, and
mm-hmm.
I think that we'll have something coming out here within the next year that I think that will be a versatile product for duck hunters, goose hunters, turkey hunters, predator hunters, something that guys are going to be able to use across the map. So.
Cool, man. Well, I'm excited.
Awesome.
I'm excited to see it. We'll have to touch base back again. Hopefully, maybe even before that, but definitely once something there happens. But what makes you tick, man? What's your Joe? He's kind of a waterfowl / angler, and if you give me anything, I want ducks, mallards, even over geese. I like to hunt geese. Canada's honkers are fun. But if I had to pick one thing, it would be waterfowl, and it would be ducks. And it would be, I'd rather field hunt. It's more intense, I think, if you've had a good day of field hunting as opposed to a good day on the water. But
yeah, I think water poses challenge. I think the nice thing about water is that you have to learn to call at the right ducks and that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Everybody on opening days, they're taking their calls out, screaming at ducks when all reality those ducks could care less. They're kind of local ducks, and they don't need to be called at and that stuff. So there's a time and a place for all that. But I mean, what makes me tick, obviously, is I'm purely waterfowl. I do enjoy turkey hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do more predator hunting, but in January I have all my shows I have to attend, from SHOT Show and distributor shows and buying group shows. So it makes it tough to get out for me in January. But I really thoroughly enjoy just field hunting, giant Canada geese, and getting out, layout hunting. There's a buddy of mine up here. He's got some pits, so I enjoy getting out in those. But I love chasing the honkers, and then when the ducks come in, it's nice to shoot those out of the field too. That's where I cut my teeth at, was out in the fields and that kind of stuff. So it's something I really love, and that's what makes me tick.
Yeah, field hunting's hard to beat, man. We got quite a bit of ground. We did a lot more scouting. We talked about it in the last episode with Christian Curtis, but we had a lot of ground that we pretty much. Yeah. We had some issues. It's one of you can't just get a chunk of land unless you own it and expect to hunt it forever. So, we don't have none of us are doctors and lawyers and all that mess, so we can't afford to go out and just spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on leases. Which I mean, you pay for what you get in a hunting lease, pretty much, unless you just get lucky. And you know, we're stuck in that kind of golden triangle area. You know, Grand Pass, Habitat, you know, Walkendale Bottoms, and all that. And it is truly a struggle. I know guys like Grand Pass. I was just talking to a couple of our guys that do some of our video production, and he's like, "Man, I'll go maybe once or twice a year if I get drawn in." But he goes, "I really like to enjoy duck hunting, and you get out there in places like that." And he goes, "And it's really hard to sometimes." Right. You know, you get guys that just don't take regard into what they're doing and how it affects other people, which I always try. I'm not going to go out there. You know, I don't want to shoot somebody's swing birds. You know, if people are working ducks, I'll just shut up and let them work them. If they don't get them, they don't get them, and we'll try. But, you know, public land creates a whole nother problem. It's not just you against the birds at that point.
No, it's hunters versus hunters.
It's hunters versus hunters, and some guys are just kind of plain jerks. And, you know, they think that they're owed what those birds, and you know, whatever. But you know, we're kind of in that area. We're slowly venturing out towards good old Central Flyway. One of our guys, Brian, has a ton of ground out there, which is super freaking exciting because we were able to actually get out there and hunt a few days late season. You know, when you start getting honkers dropping their feet late season, you know, that's that's hard to beat too, because you know you did your job right, and they've been educated up and down. But you know, we're excited for that.
I'm more of the water. I love hunting ducks and geese over water.
Yep.
Public land. We have a private marsh. Uncle's got a private land that we hunt a lot, but Dakotas to the Mississippi River, I like finding places where I can hunt ducks and geese over water. I just like the challenge of hunting on the water, and sometimes outworking the next guy. You get those freezing days when there's walking across 2 inches of ice to set decoys when 90% of the people are at home. You kind of get an accomplishment out of it.
Yeah. No, for sure, I agree, man. It's water and ice. It gets tricky. You gotta pick your battles with that one. You don't want to. That's a good way. It gets, like you were saying, Ricky. It gets dangerous. But
it gets dangerous. I mean, and you do the stuff that you can, and you know, here this past year it was so cold for so long that in January, we cut a hole in the ice with the chainsaw, and then we actually pumped water on top of the ice, and you know, it looked supernatural, and for a last hurrah there was, we were rotating guys in and out of there, and guys were shooting their two birds, and we just, hung out all day and set out a big ice spread, and the birds ate it up. So, but you got to be careful in what you're doing and be smart about it.
Yeah, and be safe. Try to keep an eye on dogs too.
Yes,
it can get dangerous for dogs. It makes it difficult, because they will get tired and they can get really, really cold. I think a lot of people have a misconception. Oh, they're bred for that. They're meant for that. Those dogs, hunting water with dogs, they're in and then they're out. You need to make sure you keep your dogs warm. I would think that most guys that really are hardcore with dogs probably know that, though. But yeah, you'd be surprised.
It's the guys. There's guys that just throw their dogs in towards the end of the year, and then the dogs lock up. And I've seen it. I've seen hypothermia in a dog. It's a scary situation, and it's not. I mean, I have my dog, but I just. If I'm hunting frozen water or something like that, I can walk out and get them. There's really no need for them. I enjoy my dog in the field.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the harsh temperatures, if a dog's not really built for that, Pit Boss has some really good. He's always had good dogs, and when he had Coot, that dog was trained for that. That dog was used to that kind of stuff, and that dog's seen that environment every day. But you do get the knuckleheads out there that don't put their dog in the water throughout the entire season, and then when the temperature drops and and that kind of stuff, or not putting a vest on their dog, or, those arguments about having vests on dogs and not having vests. And I believe in it, keeps the dog dry, but personally, those guys go out and throw their dogs out there, and then they're wondering why the dog shuts down or they run into issues, and it gets to be a scary situation.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and sometimes it's a matter of you're either losing your dog or you're going in after it. I've seen that before.
Right.
And at that point in time, you better hope you ain't got to swim, because you're going to have two people that aren't doing too, or a dog and a person that aren't probably doing too good. Because with the vests too, I think they help. I think they help with core temperature. They're just like us. If you keep that stuff covered, it's going to keep heat in that area, and it keeps our core warm. So but yeah, I'm kind of with you too. We got my buddy Devin. He's got a dog Remington, and it's fun watching a dog work. But I agree, you got to be careful and pick your days, because they're a lot more human than I think people think they are when it comes to the elements.
Yep, definitely. So you guys want to hear about the new Lucky HD?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of countless hours, long nights, just a good team effort at Lucky Duck. With the decoy, and of course we all know that everybody wants something that's waterproof and floats and all that kind of stuff. What we can say is we made it a little bit more water resistant. Doesn't float or anything yet, but it's something that's new. We do feel that it's innovated the whole entire kind of spinning wing decoy mentality. If you look at some of the spinning wings now, some of them don't even look like ducks. And as far as the paint scheme, so we went and seen Dave Constantine. He's a really good carver. He's the one that carves for Dakota Decoy as far as on their turkeys, and carved their new hawkers as well. So, and we had him do our duck, and we also have him working on some other stuff as well. But went to the actual carver, made sure the paint scheme was right, looked at a lot of photos, and changed a couple of things on there, and wanted to make sure it looked like a landing duck. The biggest deal that I see with spinners is that so many guys are getting inside the decoy with wet hands, or and wires are inside there, and it's a huge cluster sometimes for guys to dig in at something, and when they're out wading the water or whatever it may be. And we said, let's make everything happen externally on this decoy, from the way that the decoy is charged to how you would access the remote receiver before. If you had a remote in there and you wanted to sync up a remote or put the intermittent timer on, you had to open it up. Then you had to open up the box. It's that's the actual remote receiver, and then you had to flip switches, and it was just a hassle. Guys don't want to be out messing with that stuff. So we said, let's make everything happen externally on the decoy. So on the belly of the decoy, we actually made an injection molded plastic module, so that actually screws into the EVA blended plastic of the duck mold. So it's a really durable duck. It's something you could drop on the ground or something like that, and it's going to take a little bit of that beating, to where if you dropped one of the current ducks on there, or one of our competitors, it would shatter, or the head would break, or something would